Hi, this is Calypso here. I'm going to make a quick video here to show you how I load my boat for the Everglades Challenge. This is an 18-foot Epic 18X Sport Kayak. And when I load it, I have a couple things that I keep in mind. So the first thing I want to keep in mind is how the boat will perform when it's loaded out on the water. So when I load the boat, all the heaviest stuff goes as close to the center of the boat as possible to keep the ends real light so that the boat steers well. And then I also want to keep the heaviest stuff low down in the hull to keep the center of gravity low. And that keeps the boat more stable. After that, I'm going to pack so that it's as efficient as possible. So all my camping gear goes in the back hatch, and then my food and kind of miscellaneous stuff goes up front. So I'm going to start in the back and show you what's going in the boat. I'm not going to take everything out of the bags, I'm just going to kind of explain it as I go. So this is the back hatch. In the very end of the boat, I actually have a float bag that's loaded with foam. That keeps stuff from falling way into the back of the boat where I can't reach it, gives me extra flotation, and it keeps the end very light. So those are all good things with the float bag. In front of the float bag is my largest bag. It's also one of my lightest bags. All that's in here is a camping pad, a foam camping pad, some carbon fiber tent poles, and my tent stakes. I use a foam pad. In the past I've used an inflatable, like a little tiny inflatable one. That takes more time to pack, and you can pop them if you're camped in an area with sand spurs like the Everglades. So I'm really happy with the foam pad. It's worked well for me. So it goes in the back, again, keeping the real lightweight stuff towards the end. Up against the bulkhead, I'm going to put my poncho and poncho liner. So these are military poncho liner. Poncho's kind of like a big raincoat, and then the liner is a soft blanket. It's a little bulky, but I love it. It serves as my spare camp system, and I can use it in conjunction with the tent and the sleeping bag if it's really cold. Or if we want to do a quick camp and not set up a tent, I will actually just wrap up in the poncho and the liner and have a separate shelter like that. So it's really nice. I use it all the time. Here's the tent itself. This is just the fly in the tent. I keep it separate. I used to keep it with the poles, but that was actually putting some pressure on the poles, so I like to pack them separately. I have a sleeping bag and a little inflatable pillow in here. And this is a little hard to do with one hand, but this bag in the center is all my toiletries. It also has a light for the tent, my contacts, anything I need for toiletries. It has a spare headlamp and some batteries in there. So this is just kind of stuff I would need in the tent. There is a little bit of a gap here. That's fine. That's where this IKEA bag goes. So when I land, I pull the IKEA bag out and throw everything in it, and I'm done unloading the hatch. So it's really convenient. Also, this stuff is pretty well wedged in there, and I try to pack with that in mind. My gear won't move around, so we're often paddling in rough weather, or if the boat gets rolled, or whatever the scenario may be, I don't want my gear shifting. So this stuff, I don't mind my stuff being a little bit bulkier, as long as it's light. So that's the back hatch. Next hatch. Alright, so here's the day hatch. I already have it down in there. This is my wettest hatch in the boat. It does take on a little bit of water. It's also the closest to the cockpit, so this is where I want the heaviest stuff. And the heaviest stuff I'm carrying is water. So right up against the bulkhead, I have a 3-liter Camelback bladder. You'll see that it attaches to this hose here, which runs to the front of the boat. So I have 3 liters of water all day I can drink from without having to deal with a bottle. I also use these Zephyr Hills bottles. They're not fully loaded. This is for all my other needs, cooking or cleaning or whatever else I might need the water for. I don't keep them fully loaded. I have 2 of them. I don't need that much water in between the checkpoints. The only time they're fully loaded is when we go into the Everglades and we can't get fresh water. So in between those 2 bottles, I have my ditch kit. The ditch kit, I sort of came up with this, not this idea, but this occurred to me after a WaterTriber had to abandon their boat during the race, and they had to leave the boat very quickly. and grab one bag. So this is my one bag. If I had to abandon the boat, that would be it. It contains my hypothermia kit, my fire starting kit, my emergency, what else is in there? My first aid kit, and my cell phone, charging pack, batteries, basically anything I need that if I had to leave the boat quickly, I could grab this one bag and be okay. And then on the other side of it is another bottle. So that all fits real easily. So the two bottles are on either side. They keep the boat balanced, and then I can get to the ditch kit quickly. It's also nice to have the first aid kit in there if we need it out on the water. I have used it out on the water. I can pull it out of the day hatch very quickly and use it without having to unpack the rest of the boat. The one last thing that will go in there is this little Smart Water. It's a 1 liter. This will have flavoring in it later on. I put like a squeezy bottle of electrolytes and fruit flavoring there. Just makes the water a little more palatable. So that's in the day hatch. Moving up front, here's the very front of the boat. In the very front I have another float bag that's full of foam. Again, I want to keep my ends very light so that the boat steers well. I also cannot reach the very front of the boat, so I don't want any of my stuff going way up there. So that big float bag keeps anything from getting stuck up in the bow. Right up against the bulkhead, I already have the bag in there. This is my heaviest bag. It has all my snacks and lunches for the week. I pack them by day, and the system has worked really well for me. I have a variety of foods. And I have found that just by eating a little bit almost every hour, just a bite of something every hour, I'm a lot less likely to bonk or have hallucinations or anything like that. So that rides up against the bulkhead. In the front of the boat, these are my spare paddling clothes. I have a layering system. I have clothes in here. I can paddle in everything from very, very hot weather to very, very cold and be comfortable. So I'll start out, it's probably going to be a little cooler this year. I can layer up and warm up, or I can peel the layers off and put them in here. So that's the spare clothes. My camp clothes also go up front. This is a, there's two bags here. This is a double layered bag. There's a compression bag inside of it. These are my sacrosanct camp clothes. They have to stay dry. I could put them in the back hatch with all my other camp stuff, but this front hatch is a lot drier. So for me, the extra trip to go grab the camp clothes is worth it to know that my stuff will absolutely be dry and warm when I get to camp. And I have a layering system with that too. I can camp comfortably in hot weather or cold. So I've got the space left here. You'll see the bags are just in line and there's tons of space up top. The front hatch is not too heavily loaded. The rest of the stuff, I use muscle milks, so I get plenty of protein. In the past, I have carried 2 a day. This year, I'm only carrying 1 a day. They're just heavy, and I'm going to try to run a little lighter. These are the fruit squeezies, the electrolyte squeezies. I probably won't bring all 3, but I fill my 2 bottles every day with those, and that's all I need those for. This little red bag is my repair kit. It has everything I need to fix the rudder or the seat. Those are the only real moving parts on the boat. I have managed to break them both during the race, so I can repair them out there. I also have an emergency hand steering line. 1 year, my last race in 2018, I had a catastrophic rudder failure and had to hand steer the boat into Key Largo. So the hand line was really useful, and it's not heavy. The other thing I carry are some of these spare hatch toggles and the hardware for them. On a hatch with 4 latches, it's not a big deal, but if you lose that hatch toggle on the day hatch, it is a big deal. So I always have at least 1 spare. I've probably got 2 this year. And I have, a few tools and duct tape. There's not a whole lot in here. This is my stove. It's a Jetboil. And I've got all my fuel, my lighter, anything I need to cook with goes in this little 4 liter. And I'm going to just wedge that right up on top. These are my dinners. These are all dehydrated meals. I've varied this a bit over the years. Sometimes I use meals I don't have to cook. This year I'm going mostly with dehydrated, just because it's convenient. For breakfast, I use oatmeal, so that's a week's worth of breakfast. And that's actually it. So this is not packed super well because I'm doing it with one hand. You'll notice there's some space in here. The only other things that will go up here are the cockpit cover when it's not in use, and the IKEA bag, and maybe my spare charts. When I'm not using the charts, they could get shoved up in here. So that's how I load the boat. Any other odds and ends like lights or anything I need on the water goes in the deck bag. So I have like suntan lotion and ibuprofen and anything else that I might need up in the deck bag. And that's about it. So hopefully this gives you an idea.